Hey goalies, welcome back to the channel. Having a few video issues here, so we're just going to record audio today. Anyway, we're going to continue on with our coach session journey with part 3. So if you haven't checked the previous videos out, definitely look at those since these all build upon one another. So this session is less about learning new things and just kind of getting the reps in. So I'll be narrating a little bit less, be able to watch me kind of fumble around a little bit more. Anyways, let's jump right in. So just like the other two sessions, we open up with doing C cuts, which I still have a lot of trouble doing. So instead of showing you guys me struggling doing these drills again, I actually asked the coach, what kind of movements are you actually doing with C cuts inside your crease? So he goes over a few things like pivoting off the post, quickly getting to the top of the crease to challenge using a C cut, doing some down movements for pivots, and even setting up for T pushes. So I think for me to actually be able to do some of these and really up my skating level, I really gotta get on these C cuts. One interesting thing that my coach recommended for me was during this particular skate, I was using a 5/8 hollow, and he was recommending that I give a 1/2 inch a try. Literally the next morning, I went and got them done to 1/2 inch, and I've actually really enjoyed using a deeper hollow. So much so that I'm actually gonna go and try a 7/16 next. So much like the other sessions that we've had, we're just going to go ahead and warm up the gloves. So nothing new here. Shots to the glove, then shots to the blocker. A bit of feedback from my blocker hand is to just try not to reach as much and just be a little bit more patient, letting the puck come to me. That way I can just redirect that into the corner by rolling my wrists and putting that into a non-threatening position like the corner of the ice. So our first drill of the night is to T-push to the top, make a blocker save, recover to the rebound, and then back to the center for a glove hand shot. So I felt pretty good with this drill, except that I can't seem to really catch on the glove side when the shot is a little bit closer to my body. One critique that the coach had was when I got beat on my blocker side here, is that my blocker hand was actually not in front of me, rather it was behind me. So one thing to keep in mind is always keep your gloves in front of your body, that way you don't get beaten like I did. So I think after doing a drill like this is I just need to kind of focus on keeping my arms in front of me. It's pretty easy when you're kind of like standing still, but once you start moving across the crease, I kind of have to like second guess myself and think about keeping my gloves in front. This is definitely something that I want to keep working on as I do these sessions. So before going on to our next drill, we start talking about looking around and gathering information. So what I mean by this is when the puck is in a non-threatening situation, like an area behind the net, you want to quickly look out front for any potential threats, like backdoor plays, people in the slot. This allows you to make a quicker decision if the puck gets thrown out front, and lets you react properly since you already know what threats are available in front of the net. So funny thing is, I actually remember the moment I started doing this when I was playing street hockey like 30 years ago, and I did notice that it made a huge difference. Even just gathering that split second of information of knowing who is around the net. I feel like I don't do this as much as I used to, so I'll need to start getting back into the habit of looking around for threats when possible. The next thing that we do is just kind of talking about reading the release from the player's stick. So when the stick ends up kind of following through an upwards motion, it's going to be a high shot. And when the sticks follow through, ends up being low, it's most likely going to be a lower shot. A couple of years back, I actually did a bunch of Sense Arena VR goalie training, which really helped with reading the release, especially when facing higher skilled shooters, where you don't really have time to react, but need to rely on reading the release instead. I don't really think this is something that you can kind of teach yourself over time, other than just getting the reps in and playing more games and just like watching more footage of players shoot. Over time, your eye will know how to read the release and where the puck's gonna go without you actually even seeing the puck, if that kind of makes sense. So this leads us to our final drill, which if you watched the previous video, starts with these long T-pushes, make a stick save, and then we recover onto a static or moving shot. So I felt a lot better doing the longer T-pushes this time around, simply because I've had a lot of practice in between sessions. After looking at these videos, I feel like the stick save that I'm doing, maybe I'm not totally on angle on the first shot, but that just could be the way the camera is set up, so I'm not totally sure about that. So there was also an instance where I started to land on my stick when I dropped into my butterfly. As much as I like to kind of blame where my hands are, at this point I'm just getting really tired and I just can't keep my gloves out in front of me as I'm getting pretty exhausted doing this drill. Also, if you kind of drop in your butterfly and you sag your bum back a lot, you kind of pull your stick underneath your legs, which is going to cause you to drop on top of your stick. One critique was after the initial shot, I wasn't getting square to the puck after the recovery, which is why I'm getting beat here. It looks like I kind of have a tendency to recovering back to the middle of the net rather than being square to the puck. So after gasping for air, the coach actually mentioned that the amount of volume in this session is more aligned with how he trains his regular goalies. So he wasn't really taking it as easy as he normally does on me, at least that's what I think. Anyways, it was definitely another good leg burner day. I really started to question my physical fitness at this point, but again, another great session. I felt like this was just more kind of just getting the reps in rather than learning new things, which is always important to kind of get those reps in. That way everything kind of sticks and becomes muscle memory over time. That's going to wrap up session 3 on the ice here. So after this one, I started to realize that, man, playing goalie is hard work and I've got a long way to go. So nonetheless, another great session working with Iris from Pro Vision Goaltending. Thanks again, Iris, for not totally destroying me for an hour. As usual, some key takeaways for myself as I try to improve my game. First, I'm going to try a different hollow, like 1/2 inch or maybe even 7/16. Get into the habit of looking around to gather information when the puck is in a non-threatening position. Make sure that I keep my gloves up and out in front of me. And just start thinking about my overall fitness level, utilizing my core better. So this wraps up our first 3 sessions where we focus on being up on our skates. Future sessions will focus on working with down movements like in the butterfly. So if you find these videos helpful at all, and want to see more of them, definitely let me know in the comments below. It's always good to hear how these are helping other goalies. And if there's anything you'd like to get more from these videos, do let me know as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.